The late 1940s marked the beginning of the end of the British Empire. In 1947, as Rowntree and Lavers began work on the surveys, India achieved independence after almost 90 years of British rule. And in the same year, Pakistan, Burma, and Ceylon, modern-day Sri Lanka, also claimed independence from the British Empire.
S132, April 1948. Mr. W. is recently retired from the Indian Civil Service. He reached pensionable age just before the transfer of power to the two dominions.
Depressing, you know. People have given up dressing for dinner. First thing I noticed when I came back, well, not the country it was. England, English life. Possible to find servants, tax at ludicrous levels. All this molly-coddling of the working classes. Socialism. 35 years away. They've given us a memorial, Westminster Abbey, to the members of the Indian Civil Service. They served India well. Now the world, friends with the Colonial Club, summer house in Simla. Always things to be done. Nothing for me here, you know. Oh, I read a bit, novels mainly. Ride occasionally, play golf. Tennis, a little in the summer. What's that? Gambling. No desire to gamble here in England. Unless they go to a race meeting, of course. Don't see why people shouldn't gamble if they want to. Good thing, in my opinion. Takes the mind of all this socialism. I've always kept it a rule. Never take a drink till the sun's over the yardarm. I'm a whiskey man myself. Quarter of a bottle evening, just a ticket. Difficult to get hold of the decent stuff over here. Expensive, like everything else. More expensive than I can afford. Just the savings and the pension, of course. 35 years. I was lucky in one way. Reached pensionable age before the transfer of power. I suppose, if truth be told, I feel out of it here. Damn shame the socialists gave up India.
As partition takes shape, what is very striking is that there's a debate about which bits of British India should go to Pakistan and which bits of British India should stay with India. Cyril Ratcliffe basically sits down with a map and draws a line on the map and decides which bits of British India go to Pakistan and which bits go to India. And it's such a random line that large pockets of Hindus remained in the two bits of British India that were to go to Pakistan. And again, there were large pockets of Muslims in the bits of territory that would become India. There wasn't enough time to negotiate the safe resettlement of people who wanted to be resettled. And basically the mobs took the issue in their own hands. So I have a personal link, both through my family and then again through my wife's family, with the partition of British India and the formation of independent India and independent Pakistan. So my own family, we're Bengalis, Hindu Bengalis, and my grandfather grew up in a small village just outside the capital of East Bengal, or East Pakistan, Dhaka, in a village called Vikrampur. But in 1942, he sat the civil service exams, and by 1943, he was posted in New Delhi. That meant that when partition happened, the little house he grew up in rural Bengal was lost. Everything, they lost everything. So when his sisters ran away from Eastern Bengal looking for refuge, they had at least his house, his bungalow in New Delhi to escape to. So just to make a point, how experiences were very different. So yes, he lost everything that the family owned in Bengal, but their lives were never threatened. They had something in Delhi that allowed them to live comfortable lives. So they were very lucky. My wife's family are Punjabis, Hindu Punjabis. Their experience was very, very different. My wife's mother came from the city of Lahore, and my father-in-law's family came from the city of Gujranwala. When I speak to my father-in-law, his abiding memory was not going to school for a whole year because of the violence that was beginning to envelop communities. But there came a point of time where my father-in-law's father realized that it was getting very, very dangerous, and they had to take the difficult decision to leave all their property behind, just pack what they could carry safely in the trains that went from Lahore to New Delhi. They got into the train, they reached Delhi safely, only to find that there was nothing there, because Delhi was also facing riots, it was under military lockdown, there were refugees everywhere. So they ended up in a refugee camp in what is called the Old Fort in New Delhi. No running water, no facilities, hardly any government support, which made things very difficult for this family of 3 sons, 2 daughters, and parents. But they had gold, and that gold was what was packed very carefully, because they had gold, because my father-in-law's mother had gold bangles and jewels, and she hid all of that, and she carried all of that to India. So that gold became their sort of ticket out of misery, allowing them to move out of Delhi, which was getting intolerable for people who had no family or no connections. And they moved to, a state far, far away from New Delhi called Orissa. So it all ended okay, and no one died in that family, in that immediate family. But my father-in-law and his brothers are very, very aware of the fact that all the other trains that arrived from Pakistan, from Lahore to New Delhi, basically arrived in New Delhi with no live people. Every passenger had been killed en route to Delhi. But, one has to remember the violence hit the other way too. Similarly, all the trains filled with Muslims going from New Delhi to Lahore also arrived in Lahore with no one alive.